The Tasmanian Governor has been placed in a bind following news that the Greens will back the Bartlett Labor government to remain in power in Tasmania. Greens leader Nick McKim says he's disappointed that the Liberals have left them no choice but to support the government of the day. Mr McKim says it remains open to the Liberals to still engage with the Greens, but they've come to a unanimous decision to offer confidence to the existing Labor government. Joining us now on the line for the latest is Simon Pilkington, reporter for Southern Cross Television in Hobart. Simon, certainly a bizarre twist in this election saga this morning.
Well, yes, the end of yesterday, both the Liberal and the Labor leader had been to Government House. David Bartlett said he didn't really want to form a government. Will Hodgman said that he was happy to do it. But the Governor will wake up this morning to see reports in the local press that the Greens have now said that they're willing to back David Bartlett.
Simon, has Nick McKim given any indication until now that this is the likely move that the Greens would make?
Until now, he's said that he was willing to do whatever was needed to provide stable government to Tasmania. His latest effort was a letter to both the Liberal leader and David Bartlett to say, look, I'm still willing to make a deal with you. What happened is that he's been sitting back in his office waiting for the phone to ring from both David Bartlett or Will Hodgman to say, hey, Nick, let's do a deal. They haven't done that, and I guess he's now believes the best way, I guess, for him to have some influence is to actually say that he'd prefer to go with Labor.
So do you think that there's any chance that David Bartlett would have known that as he went to the Governor yesterday?
Who knows? I think the Labor Party had a pretty sure inkling that the Greens would prefer to see them remain in government rather than the Liberals. Obviously, the Greens have different policies and different approaches to both Labor and Liberal, but I guess when it comes down to it, perhaps they may prefer the Labor line.
Yes, although all the way along the Greens have been saying that they're happy to work with either party. Might Will Hodgman be judged as foolish? If this turns out to deliver Labor power, might Will Hodgman be judged foolish for not at least holding out some kind of olive branch to the Greens?
Well, he may be seen as foolish, but from the previous experience of when Labor did a deal with Greens in the past and it all collapsed, you know, the major parties have been very sensitive about, getting into bed, I guess, with the Greens and trying to form a stable government because past experiences not necessarily been all that happy, and that's where the Labor Party's determination not to do deals with has come from.
Nick McKim has said that, as you say, he wants stability in the state electorate of Tasmania, although this, coming as it has, doesn't seem to indicate much stability for the future. It seems rather ominous in terms of stability.
Well, yes, he's reported as saying, that one of the reasons he's backing Labor is because that they are already in power, that the structures of ministers and the departments and the advisors are all in place, and if that has to be overturned, it will in itself sort of lead to a period of instability. And I guess he thinks that if he can provide some support to the established system, that in itself will potentially be more stable than sort of having a complete overhaul of all the departments, advisors, and of course the cost of that. And there's still no guarantee that if the Liberals did take over, that there would be any greater stability.
No. Simon, what's Labor's true posture towards the Greens and towards working with the Greens? I mean, there's of course been this standoff. No one's talking with each other since the election. But how workable is that partnership going to be if it proceeds, Labor and the Greens in government?
Who knows? I mean, that's the decision I guess David Bartlett has to make, is just how much backtracking he is now willing to do to take on this latest offer from Nick McKim.
Because it will involve a bit of backtracking on his part, won't it?
It'll involve a substantial amount of backtracking. I would suspect yes.
But he's prepared to do that?
Well, he hasn't indicated that.
We'll be following events with great interest. Simon, for now, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.